I'm totally aware of the fact that everything going on here is a slightly intense makeup today. But as you've seen in the title, this video is the Glitter 101 because I want to talk about glitter, glitter gels, pressed glitter, whatsoever, because someone in the comments just mentioned a couple of weeks ago that they had the same palettes, glitter palettes as I have, but they do struggle a bit with application. So let's just tackle this today, and in this video I am talking about the different textures of glitter that I own and experienced, and then I will just show you some application tips, and then I will show you this in a demo of this eye look. Oh, by the way, the lipstick of today's video is the Dior Forever Rouge, the one that are transfer proof in the shade 670. Just a little disclaimer before we start talking about textures. Everything that I am telling you is more so about my own experience and not about research ingredients and stuff and how they're fabricated. I did not want to go too deep into I don't know, the technical part behind this. I want to make it much easier, condensed for you, so you just see my personal point of view. And I think this is much better when it comes to something more creative like that than going in depth into formulation. So what I have seen so far in the makeup world, I can divide glitters into four different categories. First of all, you clearly have loose glitter. I currently do not own any loose glitter, and personally, I used to have them, but I'm not a fan. Let's just get it straight out of the way. Then you have the classic pressed glitter that is always considered being a cheap alternative to a glitter shade. You will find these pressed glitters a lot in ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, to be honest. And I just took the, the It's a Mood one. And you see this, for example, is a pressed glitter, this and this. They are very flaky, very gritty, loose glitters that are pressed with a tiny amount of a binding component into the pan. Personally, I don't mind them. I like them. I think they're a bit harder to work with than, for example, glitter creams like in those glitter palettes, but I can live with them. I do not think that they are a cheap whatever thing to make something glittery, but I do agree on the fact that it's a lazy way to do it. I mean, probably it's the cheapest one to produce, so I don't know about that. Then you have pressed glitter versions that are a bit more, I don't want to say luxurious, but the texture is a bit more, it's better. Like, for example, the Roman D one. This is the Better Than palette what the fuck? This is the Better Than palette in 00 Light and Glitter Garden, so that's what it's called. And all of these in here are basically pressed glitters, but with very different textures and a different amount of the binding component. So you see these ones that do look very fine here, they have much more of the binding component in them than, for example, this, or like in general these three that look just more gritty and more textured. And the last category is glitter gels. This is personally my favorite category. I do have 4 of those glitter gel palettes, and I'm not gonna lie, these do cost a fucking much money because most of the time they're handmade. One of the first ones that I ever had was the Space Case Mini from Lemonhead LA because of this shade that is on my cheeks today, the viral Houdini shade that was used on Euphoria. All of these are glitter gels. They are basically the specks of glitter, like the physical specks mixed with a gel component. They're hand mixed and they do have a very interesting texture. You see, they're not like the pressed ones. You cannot press them because they will like very much move since they are gel-like, but they will dry down on your eyes. So about the dry time of this, I will say something in a minute. I do also have the Lemonhead LA Space Case 1. This is the classics. They do have a remastered one, and let me just open that so you can peek inside why I needed to have this. Because this is literally a rainbow palette with glitter. You have the same like translucent glitters over here. I don't mind having two of them because the Houdini shade in the other one is nearly empty. And then you have this version here with beautiful colored glitters. The other brand of glitter gels that I own is from Slayfire Cosmetics. I know there is kind of a thing with Lemonhead and Slayfire. I read about that on Reddit, but I don't care, I just like them both. So the first palette that I own is the Diamond Skin palette, and this is basically a palette full of those translucent glitters. And yes, we will tap into this palette of course today too. And the last one that I own is the To Die For palette. This was their Halloween palette for last year, and I mean, come on. Reds, blacks, silvers, it's so my name. I'm honest with you, this one that looks like the little goggle eyes, I never used before. And I probably never will. So with pressed glitters, doesn't matter if it's the, let's say the cheap one from Colourpop or the ones from Roman D, you most likely will not have a dry out problem. With glitter gels though, I'm not gonna lie, like in these palettes, you will have a, let's not say problem, but you will face the fact that these will dry out because it's a gel. These brands do sell like revamping components. You can buy the stuff that is made with to revamp a glitter. I personally do not have the Lemonade. Yes, it's called Lemonade, like lemonade. It's the one that Lemonade LA sells for their gels. What I do have is the component that Slayfire Cosmetics uses, and it's this one. This is a liquid, what's it called? The Reviving Potion. And this is basically a liquid that you use, and you drop this basically on your glitter, and then you just mix it with a spatula or whatever you have to just revamp the glitter. In general, these glitter palettes do have a lifetime of like 2 years, and after 2 years they will dry down, and I can confirm that. I bought this space case in 2021, I think, end of 2021, maybe 2022? No, 2021. I was still in my old apartment when I had this, but it could be the beginning of 2022, I don't know. And this has dried out in some colors, but then I just put some of this potion in there, mix it, and they're still strong. So that's the good thing about the glitter gels. You can bring them back to life. I just said that these palettes are very expensive, and they are. This little bitch costs 160 bucks. The big one is 250, and I think each of these palettes from Slayfire does sell for around about 100 euro. So Slayfire Cosmetics is a bit more cheap, or I don't want to say affordable because they're both very expensive, but Lemonhead LA is much more expensive than Slayfire. So why do I have all of these? There is actually just, to me, it's the experience of loving glitter and stuff, and there is, in my opinion, a difference in texture. So I just have here the Lemonhead LA one, the Space Case Mini, and I just grabbed some of the shade, what is this one called? So this is the shade Sunset Strip from the Space Case. Doesn't matter if it's a mini or the big one, it's in both, by Lemonhead LA. And you can already see it is a goopy gel that I have here on my finger. Let's just tap into the Diamond Skin palette because they are very, very different. Like, I'm not talking a bit, very much. There is a distinct difference between these. And you know, this shade down here, yeah, the one that's called Glinda is very, very similar in shade to the Sunset Strip one. Why the fuck? What the fuck? And I hope you can see this already. So here we have Lemonhead LA. This is much more goopy and gel-like, while Slayfire Cosmetics is drier. So you can probably see this here. Slayfire Cosmetics, it also feels drier, it looks drier, it applies drier. Is that now a bad thing? Actually not, because the big secret of applying a glitter, doesn't matter if it's your face or the eye or whatsoever, is tapping instead of swiping. Because as soon as you start swiping, you break up the glitter, you will move the glitter that does not need to be moved once you applied it, depending on the technique. I mean, sometimes you want to move it, then of course swiping is cool. But if you want to build up the glitter, you do tap. Tap into the shade, tap on the eye. And with the Lemonhead LA glitters, that can be a bit harder because of that very gel-like consistency. They are, wet is the wrong word, but they are wetter than Slayfire Cosmetics. With Slayfire Cosmetics, you can use this tapping technique, very precise and very easy, while I personally think that with Lemonhead LA, the learning curve is a bit harder. Another very important thing about glitter is you should set your expectations right. Do not compare a glitter with a glittery eyeshadow. There are worlds between them. With a glittery eyeshadow, you do have a colored base to them that is mixed with shiny, sparkly pigments. With a glitter, and it doesn't matter if it's a pigmented glitter like that or if it's a translucent glitter like that, you do not have a base. The gel that is used to mix these glitters is clear. That means when you apply this, you can definitely see this on my eye, you will have skin showing through. So for example, when you want to make one of these red shades pop on your eye, use a red base. Use a colored base underneath. Can be an eyeshadow, it is completely fine. You don't need to have a cream base or something. Just use a red eyeshadow underneath, tap the red on top, and you will have a beautiful effect on the eye. I always see in a lot of reviews about these glitter palettes that people are basically saying, oh, they're not opaque enough. That's correct. They can't be opaque because of their texture. Let me swipe this black one, you know? Swipe, swatch. So I did dip my finger into the black, and of course it looks super opaque now, but it's also a fucking thick layer of it. So let me just swipe this here underneath, and you can see the texture is breaking up. And even if I start tapping, the texture is building, yes, but you see my skin showing through, because with the glitter you do not have a colored base pigment that it's mixed in. It's probably also doable, but I don't know any glitter brand that does this actually. So if you want to use those glitters and you have those glitters and you want to have the most opaque application of that color, do a base underneath that is in the same color family or very similar to this. So for example, for the black glitter, I would do black base because that will look all fucking sun. For my eye look today, I did not use a base. I applied the glitter straight up to the eye just to show you the normal application process. So when these are not that opaque, what the fuck do you need these for? Actually, to me, these glitters are accent shades. I love a glittery inner corner. Glitter inner corner was my whole personality in 2022, and that kind of shifted and I want to have it back. I think I will be coming back to glitter inner corner once I'm done with testing new eyeshadows and whenever I do a look that is not for a specific video, because I just love the effect of this. I also did some looks, some amazing looks. For example, a red and black smoky eye that looked fucking bomb, but do you know what I did then? I added the Slayfire, the Lemonhead LA glitter in the center where my red was, and I added this red on top. Oh fuck me, look that awesome. People commented even on my makeup at work, which they usually don't do because nobody cares about makeup at work. So personally, I think those glitter palettes are a fun way to add something different to your looks, to add something different to your makeup style, to just amp up any look. And if you have a glitter palette, like for example the Diamond Skin one from Slayfire, where everything literally is transparent and like glitchy looking, like glitchy in that way like my cheeks are, then you can have something that even when you are more of a natural makeup wearer can amp up your clean girl makeup looks, that can amp up your natural looks, that can amp up your neutrals. Just imagine a look with some beigey neutrals in the crease and then one of these shades all over the lid. amazing. I personally do not have a brand preference, so it all depends on the color story that you like. By the way, all of these brands, so Slayfire and Limited LA, they also do sell the glitters in singles, and Slayfire Cosmetics even has little quads. So the last question before we hop over to this look here, how the fuck do you remove this now? Very easy. You can use a makeup wipe to just swipe it off because it will come off very easy. You can use a cotton pad with some micellar water and swipe it off, or you use tape. I personally think that tape is the easiest way to remove it, and I even use tape when I have very intense metallics on the eye because I don't want to have it all over the place. So I do have some clear tape here, and what I do is, let me do it here on the black, I just tape the tape here on top. I then press it on very good. Of course, when you do this on your lid, please be gentle, do not press so hard as I do, and then just remove it. And you see the majority of the glitter is on the tape. Let me just do this once more because I think this is a very satisfying process here. So I do tape and then I just remove the tape and the majority is on here. But as I said, you can also just use a makeup wipe, and this is what I'm doing with the rest. Put the makeup wipe on and then just very carefully drag the stuff. You will feel the glitter through the makeup wipe and you see a lot has happened. I then just fold the makeup wipe a little bit and then I go over the rest. Since a glitter, unlike a pigment or a glittery pigment, is literally a physical thing, like you have teeny tiny glitter physical particles that you can feel, they are very easy removed by a makeup wipe, while with a glittery eyeshadow you probably experience that too. When you try to remove that with a makeup wipe, you smear it everywhere. The pigment will break up in smaller pigments and then you have glitter everywhere. That cannot happen that fast with glitter gel. One last thing. Since this is a physical thing, it's a physical glitter that is in a gel mixed for easier application, you can feel them. I will not lie to you. I can feel this dry on my cheeks and I have the feeling that it will crack. I can feel a heavy glitter layer on my eyes. This is definitely nothing I do like for every day. I do like glitter every day, but just as I said, accent colors and kind of little accent spots where I apply it. But I would personally not wear something like this every day because it is very heavy on the eyes. But it just looks so good. Okay, I think that's enough. I hope I covered everything. If I forgot some pre-info that you need, and I'm pretty sure I did not add any other info in the outro, let me know in the comments so that I can answer the question. And if there is something that you would like to see in action, more demos, more used whatsoever, let me also know, because now let's head over to the tutorial where I go a bit more in depth about application techniques and show you application. Okay, since this video is all about the glitter application, I already did apply some mattes, and the palette I use for that is the Huda Beauty Creamy Obsession in the color Grayish. If you want to know what I think about this, my review is already up on Instagram, but maybe a little spoiler of that because I hate gatekeeping and sending you back and forth and stuff. It's okay. That's it. That's all I have to say. And the palette I'm using for this application method is the Slayfire Cosmetics To Die For palette that came out last Halloween. Not sure if this is still available, but actually it doesn't matter because the glitter market is so big, you will definitely find others depending on your personal liking. And I personally want to use this color here. This is found footage. This has silvers and blues and reds and is like a really pretty kind of holographic glitter. Maybe also a bit of this one. This is Twilight. we see how the creativity is going. So for application, depending on what you like, you can either use one of those silicone brushes. This is specifically one from Slayfire Cosmetics, but actually these brushes you get also from other brands. I found them on other websites, from no-name brands, from Chinese brands, on Amazon. You can also use those sponge tip applicators. That is basically the same thing. But if you don't want to invest in a new set of brushes or a new type of brushes, or you're like, okay, I have 2 of those glitters, like why should I buy new ones? You can also use regular flat packing brushes or the little fingers, but I personally hate applying makeup with fingers, so you will never see me doing this. And because that silicone brush from Slayfire Cosmetics is a bit too big for my eye area, I do use it mainly when I apply glitter on the face, which we will do also today. I will switch over to this one. This is a Spectrum Cosmetics from the Sculpt set, and this is the number 20. This is a regular flat packing brush, but very dense, not too much of a hair. And if you use your regular brush instead of a silicone one, I highly recommend using a synthetic brush. So if you have natural hair brushes, I cannot recommend using them with glitter. So what I'm going to do is I tap now into the shade Found Footage, and what I do is I just scratch with my brush a bit over the surface so that I get some build up product. You don't need that much. So basically, let's say like that. I think that's a good amount. And I do not have any glitter glue, and what I do is I tap it on. On those areas where is a bit too much of glitter, I can swipe. But other than that, I just keep on tapping. I went back into the glitter, I loaded the brush a bit more, and now I apply some more on another clean area. I do swipe a bit where I have a bit of like build up, but other than that, I keep on tapping. And I do this now until this part of my lid is covered that I want to have covered. So I'm now done with the Found Footage shade, and I left the outer parts bare because I definitely do want to use another shade. Maybe this or this one. The Twilight shade does shift green, which is nice, but maybe not really fitting with this cool toned vibe going on. You know what? I'm taking this shade here. This is called Lily. And the cool thing with a glitter texture gel like this, there is just nearly no product left on the brush. There are a few specks going on, but it actually does not matter that much. So I take just the same brush, I flip it to the other side, and now I go into that Lily shade. This is way more pigmented because the base glitter in here is black, so I do put some back. I don't want to have too much going on the brush because the area where I want to apply it is not that big. But I do start here on the outer part by tapping it on and a little bit of swiping. Not too much. And I don't know if you were able to see this in the first application. There was a chunk of glitter that just fell down somewhere here. That can happen when you initially apply too much. It will not stick to the skin, it would just fall out because these gels are not dry. They are gels and they will dry down on your eye. I did apply a bit too much of that glitter, especially here in the crease area, but the trusty spoolie can solve this. I just very gentle brush it off. And to mix these two, you probably have seen it already, I just kept on tapping on top of both. Glitter is not the same as a metallic shade. It's not fading into something. You will end up with kind of a harsh line as I do. So I recommend just going in with the shades that you use to create your mattes, to create your creases, transition and depth areas. For me, it would be this one. So I'm going back into that shade with my same brush and very, very gently just going over these edges. You can tap a little bit. I recommend not swiping too much because you can disrupt the glitter a bit. So for the lower lash line, I did apply these two cream shades from that palette, and now let's finish that look with, more glitter. So for that inner corner highlight, I'm going into the Diamond Skin palette from Slayfire Cosmetics, and I will be using this shade over here. This is Twinkle Toes. So I do have some of this glitter on a very, very small brush, and this glitter has a special thing going on. There are tiny little like four-cornered stars in that shade, and I do want to apply one of those here in that inner corner and just see how this works. So with the inner corner highlight, I do basically the same thing. I apply it, I do swipe a bit, but then I basically go on by tapping. I also do apply glitter along the lower lash line, and you see, hopefully there is the tiny little star, but I feel like this is way too big for the inner corner, so I do take it off. So we have still brow bone highlight and actually face highlighter left, and I thought when I do a glitter video, let's just apply also a glitter on the cheeks, which I never do because even for me that's a bit too much. But first the brow bone highlight, and I'm using a pressed glitter for this. This is the Romandy Better Than palette in the shade Light and Glitter Garden, and this is basically a tan pan palette with different textures of pressed glitter. For the brow bone highlight, I'm going into this shade up here. This is such a beautiful glitter. It's the shade Dewdrop, and I do apply this here on my brow bone highlight. If something comes into the brows, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I want to be a glitter queen today. And for my face highlight, I'm going into the Lemonhead LA Space Case Mini. I do also have the Space Case Pro, but the shade that I want to have is in both, so it doesn't matter. And I will be using the oh so viral, let me open it. You can probably tell it's the one that is nearly empty. This is Houdini. If you don't know what the Houdini shade is, where have you been? Because this went viral, I think in 2020 or 2021, something like that, when the first season of Euphoria aired, because this is the shade Donny Davy used on the Euphoria makeup set to create the famous glitter tears that Rue wore in the finale of season 1. And what I do is now I take this big silicone brush and I scoop some of it out here like so, and I have now some on the brush, and I do tap this here on my cheek. I swipe a bit, basically like I would apply a glitter. And the cool thing about this shade is, and this is now really on trend, like you can find the shade in a lot of other pressed metallics and duochromes and multichromes. It's one of those shifty shades, so in one lighting you see nothing, while in the other one it appears to be purple in this case. So I hope it is visible on camera. In the mirror it truly is, and I love it. And here we have the finished look. So we have talked now in this video a lot about glitter. I showed you application. I hope this does help you. I just want to circle back to the intro and just mention once more, everything that I told you about glitter, formulation, feeling, stuff and shit is based on my personal opinion, on what I have experienced, and is not researched in like ingredient shit or so. A lot of glitters, especially in the States, they are marked as not safe for eye area. In the EU though, they are safe for eye area. I just want to say, it does not matter if we are talking about a pressed glitter, a loose glitter, a glitter gel, a glitter cream, whatever. As soon as there is like a foreign thing that you put anywhere near your eye area, of course it can cause something. When this goes into your eye and you do not clean it up properly, there is definitely going to be some damage done. Yes, 100%. But the same can happen with mascara, with lashes, with any other eyeshadow whatsoever. So they are safe for the eye area. I just want to say that whenever you use stuff like that, and as said, it doesn't matter if it's glitter or mascara, just be careful. Don't smear it on your eye. The eye is very sensitive, so be careful. And I just realized I have lipstick on my teeth. I personally am a big fan of glitters, and when I just see this eye look, I am super duper happy. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you maybe learn something. And if you have some of those glitter palettes, maybe even at home, or some pressed glitters that you were just too afraid to use, then I hope I can give you some inspiration and some techniques on how to apply them. Long story short, actually, the secret behind glitter application is tapping and not swiping. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe because I do fun shit over here, and I will see you in the next one.